So I'm sitting here with Paolo Safari, a 2016 Syracuse graduate, 2017 postgraduate. He was a part of the Syracuse Orange lacrosse team, and now he is an assistant coach at Binghamton University. So, Paolo, tell us a little bit about what made you want to start coaching.
Well, I mean, I've always been into sports and I've been around sports and athletics since I was a little baby. So I don't know, just getting to experience a high Division 1 level program, it just really wanted to make me see what I could do with the as coaching up younger kids at this level of lacrosse.
So, your first year out of school, your very first year, you end up at Binghamton and you end up being a coach without um, having really any past coaching jobs beside, a club team there or a little league team here. But for the most part, you came right out of college and you got a college coaching job. So, what do you think characteristics and traits do you have in order for you to have obtained that job?
Well, to start off, I mean, I grew up away from Syracuse in Ithaca, which is an hour away. So every summer, I had opportunities to, do summer camps, help out other coaches, and just get experience. Um, but I don't know, honestly, I just love being around lacrosse. I've just never. I enjoy being around kids. I've always enjoyed being around younger kids, teaching younger kids, watching them grow. Um, it does take a lot of skill to be a coach, though. People underestimate that.
So, speaking of skill, I've letting you take in a glance at my resume, and I have under my skills is um, dependable, hardworking, and being a good leader. And having played on your team, having the privilege to have played with you, and having you be a captain of that team, I think that from then on, people knew that that leadership quality was not something up to question in you. So, do you think that that leadership quality is important while being a coach?
Absolutely, I think that I think looking out for the best interests of, if you, let's say you're a coach of your players, or if you're a teammate of other players, looking out the best interests of your players. I think that's one of the most important things. I think that you have to have a sense of patience. You have to have a sense of um, structure and discipline. You have to be able to speak how you feel and tell the kids when they're right and when they're wrong. So I think those are some pretty important skills to have.
So, being able to talk to kids, like you just said, is probably a huge part of your job. Under my skills and my resume, I put personable, and having known you, having played on your team, and having had you as a captain, I would think that that is definitely a trait that you have yourself. Talk about how being personable is an impactful way to recruit kids to your university.
Well, you have to understand, you know, coaches and adults think differently than at like young athletes and kids. So you kind of have to understand how they're feeling, or where maybe they had a rough day at home. Maybe you got to understand that maybe not to push that kid so hard in practice. You have to understand that like kids have feelings. Like kids go home and think about the things that you say. So you have to be really picky about what you say to them in practice.
And tell us a little bit about your past coaching experience before getting to Binghamton. I understand that you did a little club lacrosse working with kids. How different is that, and how did it prepare you for the level that you're at right now?
It's different in the sense of, well, to start off, all my 4 or 5 years at Syracuse University, the assistant coach for our defense, Coach Carmazino, runs an Orange Crush Lacrosse organization in upstate New York, which is right in the backyard. So I've helped out with that every single summer. Helped out with him, but yeah, I think that but compared to college lacrosse, it's obviously way faster. The kids are way more mature. You have to have grown adult conversations with these guys. You have to really teach the fundamental details of lacrosse, whereas young kids, you wouldn't be teaching them as specific of things as you would Division 1 athletes.
So I think that's where our resumes would coincide with each other, because we both have that experience of coaching before actually getting that college coaching job. And as an aspiration of mine, wanting to, coach college lacrosse, do you have any tips that I should be following in preparation to try to get a job like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think the biggest thing is you got to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, then the kids are going to enjoy your presence. So you got to really enjoy it. You definitely have to have a passion for the game. You have to have a passion for wanting to teach kids and wanting to communicate with people. So, I mean, I think you have what it takes.
So now, talk a little bit about our college head coach and Coach John Desko. He's one of the legends of the games, and I think that speaking for myself personally, I know that I've learned a lot from him. What do you think playing under him and learning from him has helped you, and maybe potentially how can it help somebody like me who's trying to follow in your footsteps and Coach Desko's footsteps?
I think the biggest thing I got from Coach Desko is his experience and his poise. I think he handled himself like a professional 24/7. And I think that's also a huge factor of being a successful coach. I think that you have to be able to be poised in high pressure situations. You have to be able to know how to talk yourself out of a tough conversation with a kid that maybe had a bad day that day. So I think experience, just him being around for so many years kind of rubbed off on me.
So you talk about that poise. A way that I define it is grace under pressure. So somebody that has grace under pressure, I think, makes a good college lacrosse coach. Whether it's talking to a kid or calling a timeout with a minute left and trying to draw up a play, talk about how important it is to, keep calm and collected and not lose your cool, so to speak, under high pressure situations.
Well, actually, an ex-Syracuse lacrosse alumni named Mark Denver, who is a famous Navy SEAL, wrote a whole bunch of books. He spoke to one of the teams I was on one year, and one of the things he said was what he learned in like the drill camp for Navy SEALs is that his drill sergeant told him that calm is contagious, and he explained that being calm rubs off on people. If you're the leader and you're the coach, hypothetically, in the situation, and you're panicking, frantic, all the players are going to follow you. They're all going to not know what to do. They're all going to be frantic and nervous. If you're calm, cool, and collective, and you act like, or if you know how to act in a high pressure situation, then I think that the players will react to that in a positive way.
And I think that you've done a great job by leading by example. When you're a captain, it's you can tell players to do one thing, but if you're not doing it yourself, then they really can't take your word for it. So that's where I have on my resume dependability. I feel like I'm a dependable person, and I think that is something that is important for a coach. You got to depend on your coach. So, and I know I depended on you as my captain, and I hope that you've carried that trait on to your coaching.
Yeah, I mean, I hope my players think that of me as well, I think being dependable and being reliable is equally as important as being as a coach as it is a player. So,
well, awesome. Thank you, Paulo, and I appreciate you doing this interview.